What's happening, people? Welcome back to Clown Questions, the show where there are no dumb questions. I'm your host, Matt K. Maurer, and the question on my mind today is, can Dart save Daboll? I'll attempt to answer that question in addition to some others. Top 10 Goosebump moments of the week. First, your interruption with Mike Tomlin, and I'll do a pick for my game of the week this week. So, who's down to clown?
That's a clown question, bro.
So can Dart save Daboll? I don't know. Obviously, I'm talking about Jaxson Dart and Brian Daboll after Brian Daboll this week made the decision that Jaxson Dart will start week 4. I honestly forget who they're playing. I don't think it's a easy opponent. Let me quick look up the Giants schedule. I never Google stuff on the show. I got to do it more. Ooh, they play the Chargers. That's a hell of a game to debut in. Chargers are 3-0. That is a tough game. Dart's going to have a rough debut now that I know he's playing the Chargers. I expect the Chargers to dominate that game on offense and defense. It's going to be a rough debut. But who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. Technically not his debut, though, because Dart did come in for a play here and there for Russell Wilson. But yeah, that's the decision Brian Daboll made this week. Benching Russell Wilson, starting Jaxson Dart. I think that last, when Russell Wilson threw the ball away on 4th down at the goal line, that was kind of the nail in the coffin. Daboll's like, all right, we're 0-3. You had your shot. I don't care that you threw for 450 yards against a Cowboys defense that is not nearly as good as we thought it was going to be. I wonder why. Sorry, we don't have to get into Micah again here. But, can Dart save Daboll? I don't know. A better question might be, can he save Joe Schoen? Because Joe Schoen's the GM, obviously traded up and made that move in order to get Dart. But, it feels like, Russell Wilson wasn't playing great. This is probably the right decision, but it kind of seems like a little bit of a desperate move from Brian Daboll and maybe Joe Schoen involved in this decision as well, trying to save their jobs. They know they're both on the hot seat. I would say their GM, Joe Schoen, especially, as well as Brian Daboll. So if this team does not have any success with Dart, I think they're both gone. So I do think Dart can save him. He just needs to have an average rookie season. If he can get that Giants team to 6-7 wins, something like that. Excuse me, y'all. Sorry to cough and drink into the microphone. But where was I? Yeah, if Dart can get them to 6-7 wins, maybe those guys can hang on to their jobs. But anything lower than that kind of slightly below average range, I think the Giants are going to move in a different direction with both their coaching and their general manager spot. I got some other NFL news here. No questions for these ones, but Darnell Savage has signed with the Commanders. Shout out Darnell Savage, Packers legend. Evidently wasn't good enough to stay on that Jaguars defense, so I guess they cut him, didn't want to pay him, whatever it was, but he's a Commander now. Commanders, I think they're happy to get another DB, a proven DB in this league who had a lot of success in Green Bay. So good move for the Commanders there, and interesting, kind of weird move for the Texans. A bit of a surprise this week. The Texans released their safety, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, CD Deuce, as he's affectionately known on Twitter. I feel like I say the word affectionately known like once a show, but here I am saying it again. But yeah, they cut C.J. Gardner-Johnson. I was pretty shocked to see it. Personally, Packers safeties are stacked, okay? We have Xavier McKinney, best safety in the league, and Evan Williams, a future best safety in the league. So we don't really need C.J. Gardner-Johnson, but I'm not opposed to it. I kind of want the Packers to sign him, not because we necessarily need a safety, but we might need another shit talker. After Jair Alexander, after we released him, that was our best shit talker on the team. So it'd be nice to have, another shit talker with CJGJ here. But he's still a free agent as of this recording. Really interested to see who signs him. I don't see him being a free agent for long. There's always a team that needs a safety, and C.J. Gardner, Super Bowl champion. He contributed to that Eagles defense. But yeah, the main reason I think the Texans made this release is because Jimmy Ward was reinstated, and he's another safety. And I'm trying to remember what he was reinstated for. And here's some more bad podcasting for you, because I didn't even look up why he's reinstated, but I'll Google it now. He was reinstated by the NFL from the commissioner exempt list after a grand jury declined to indict him on domestic violence charges. Okay, so I don't that doesn't sound that doesn't sound like he's completely innocent. But the grand jury declined to indict him. Were they a bunch of Texans fans? Because it sounds like they're like, yeah, he's probably guilty, but we're not going to indict him. That's what that sounds like. But I don't know. Evidently, he's back for the Texans, and he will take C.J. Gardner Johnson's spot at safety here. One other piece of info. I feel really bad because I claimed to be a huge Tyrod Taylor fan. I swear I'm a huge Tyrod Taylor fan, and here I'm doing it again. I want to apologize to Tyrod Taylor. Not until after that show, it was when I realized, but Baker Mayfield, the Buccaneers played Tyrod Taylor and the Jets last week, and Baker corrected one of the reporters. He's like, by the way, it's Tyrod, not Tyrod. Baker's like, Tyrod never corrects anyone for whatever reason. He never corrected him. I thought it was Tyrod for a decade. So my apologies, Tyrod Taylor. Valiant effort by the Jets there. I love nothing more memorable from that NFL Sunday, except Goosebump moment number one, than that Aaron Glenn, head coach for the Jets, just kind of dancing or farming down the sideline as I think it returned a block kick all the way. Did end up losing that game, but good news, I had to drop the car off at the mechanic again, and I got someone else to take me home. Salute. Thank you to my friend who did that, Perry. But yeah, let's move on to my next question here. That's kind of the NFL housekeeping there. My next question is terrifying, especially in this age of AI. Are robots taking over? I think everyone knows that, unfortunately, the answer is yes, of course, with the, release of ChatGPT a couple years ago. And now the most terrifying thing to me right now is Google VO3. You can make hyper-realistic videos where, it's probably already been tried. If someone's going to make a Google VO3 video of you doing something you didn't and try to falsely indict you of. Hopefully the grand jury will decline to indict you. But I got to get back to the sports. I'm terrified of robots and AI taking over. And a big reason for that is that Major League Baseball has decided to use the automated ball strike challenge system, known as ABS, during the entire 2026 season. So the rules for the ABS challenges are: each team gets 2 challenges, but they can keep them if they're successful. Challenges can only be initiated by a pitcher, catcher, or batter, and the request must come right after the pitch. In order to signal a challenge, pitcher, catcher, or batter taps his hat or helmet to let the umpire know. No help from dugout or other players on the field is allowed. And apparently, in each extra inning, a team will be awarded a challenge if it has none remaining entering the inning. The ABS challenge system, powered by T-Mobile 5G. That's so stupid. What? They sponsored the challenge system? T-Mobile sponsored the challenge system, their 5G network. That's kind of weird, but I guess powered by T-Mobile. They use cameras set up around the perimeter of the field to track the location of each pitch, and a graphic on the scoreboard shows the result of the challenge. I guess shout out T-Mobile, but yeah, I don't know. Long-standing take from Pardon My Take is that robot umps would ruin the game because you wouldn't be able to complain about bad calls after a game ended. Let me complain about a bad call right now. The Browns-Packers game should have went to OT. I know we lost. I know it shouldn't have even been a game with the Browns, but that last play, the center spotted the ball 2 yards back from so it should have been a 53-yard field goal instead of a 55-yard field goal. But he spotted it, and the ref tapped it, and they got enough time for the spike. What the ref should have done is move the ball 2 yards to the correct spot, and the clock would have ran out, and the Packers and Browns would have went to overtime. There's my complaint. I wouldn't have an excuse as to why the Browns upset the Packers without that. If it was a robot, I guess you can't really have a robot spotting the ball. But you can have them do ball strike challenges. But yeah, to summarize, robots are taking over. A robot actually snitched on me yesterday. I was at the self-checkout doing a little side hustle DoorDash, and I had 2 different orders from Meyer, so I was trying to separate them. I did the first order, tried to bring it through, and the robot went, you need human assistance. And I'm like, what the hell? What happened? And the guy's like, oh yeah, the robot noticed that there's still stuff in your cart. I'm like, the robot? No, yeah. He's like, they got the camera, the AI automated system. They can tell if you leave items there. So yeah, the robot, not that I was stealing the food. I was doing 2 separate orders. But yeah, I got snitched on by a robot. They're taking over. I hate them. If anyone sees the Riz bot in I think it's in Austin, Texas, please kick it to the ground. I guess they might have a security, but we gotta start bullying robots so they don't take over. Or should we be nice to the robots so when they do take over, they kind of leave us alone or maybe help us out? I don't know. I don't have nearly enough podcasts to go into the depths of the robot takeover we're about to witness. So I'll just move on to my next question. Who got fired? OSU fired Mike Gundy. That's who got fired. Mike Gundy. I don't know if it was because of the drunk driving comments, but I think he made a comment earlier this year. He's like, what? Everyone's done it like 1,000 times, basically admitting to drunk driving 1,000 times. But if you can hear that, kids, that's why they made vaping illegal in Wisconsin. There's ways around it, though. I have one right here. But really glad they made it illegal because I need to stop vaping. But anyways, Mike Gundy, legendary coach, one of the longest tenured coaches in college. But yeah, Oklahoma State had kind of no choice but to fire him. That program is going nowhere, as is the Wisconsin Badgers. Fire Fickle. That's a quick little aside. Who got fired? The idea of Luke Fickle in the minds of all Wisconsin Badgers fans. That's who. But yeah, Mike Gundy gets fired, and Bruce Pearl, he also got fired. He actually fired himself. Bruce Pearl, technically he retired, but we'll say he got fired by himself. But the weird thing is he already appointed the next coach. His son, Stephen Pearl, will be the head coach at Auburn this year. Definitely not nepotism. Hiring your coach, hiring your son as the next coach. Imagine Bill Belichick left the Patriots. He retired, and a couple weeks before the season, he's like, and my son Steve Belichick will be coaching, will be the new coach. Kind of ridiculous. I don't know. I mean, Steven, I'm assuming he's been an assistant head coach on Auburn for years, so I'm sure he'll do a fine job. But yeah, definitely reeks of nepotism for Bruce Pearl there. Bruce Pearl, he will probably be a candidate in the Republican primaries in 2028. So that'll be interesting. I don't know if a coach, media personality could ever be president. That just seems way too far-fetched. So yeah, Bruce Pearl. I don't know. We'll see if you run for office, but again, you're acting like reality TV stars can get elected. So let's move on to the next question. Before anyone realizes how stupid that joke was, who's hurt now? That's the question. And the answer is everyone. I don't know. I don't know if I want to do a segment. Every week I want to go through the injuries because it's important to note. But I also want my questions to be funny, but injuries aren't funny, so I'll just ask a straight up question: who's hurt now? Fred VanVleet. Fred VanVleet tears his ACL, and again, I don't want to make light of injuries, but this is a continuation of the basketball gods punishing Kevin Durant. Fred VanVleet, obviously on the Houston Rockets, that's who Kevin Durant got traded to this offseason. Ever since KD lost to Warriors, it feels like his career has been cursed. Obviously, we saw that dumpster fire of a Phoenix Suns team last year. You know, that Bradley Beal contract kind of handcuffing them. They, didn't have any success back in Brooklyn. Him, Kyrie, and James Harden played for a total of, 14 games. So, yeah, the second KD left it's like you won 2 championships, but at what cost? You curse the rest of your career. And the basketball god said, you're only winning with the Golden State Warriors. You're not winning elsewhere. I don't know. Those I could see the Rockets making a run, but without Fred VanVleet, that's one of their best shooters. It will be tough. Unfortunately, that's not the only ACL injury with someone being out for the year. Of course, I don't know if I mentioned Fred will be out for the year. But Joey Bosa, not Joey Bosa, his younger brother, Nick Bosa, he has a torn ACL, out for the year. Really rough. The injuries never seem to stop for the San Francisco 49ers. It's kind of just a fork in the road every year. The fork in the road says healthy or injured. And one way, the healthy way, the 49ers make the playoffs and make some noise. Injured, they miss the playoffs. It's kind of reminds me of Dr. Jones, my boy, who's, shout out if you're watching it tomorrow, happy birthday. It's his birthday tomorrow. But he either wins the fantasy football championship or misses the playoffs. I guess 49ers haven't won a Super Bowl in a row, but it's either they're a formidable force in the playoffs or they miss the playoffs. With Nick Bosa, it makes it more likely that they'll miss the playoffs. But, of course, they're, 3-0? So, I mean, who knows how long Mac Jones will be in there. I think I just actually got a Brock Purdy update. Brock Purdy is back, announced Coach Kyle Shanahan. He will return this Sunday versus the Jaguars. So there's a little consolation prize for the 49ers fans. They get Brock Purdy, who, 2 weeks later, didn't play those 2 games. Mac Jones proved me wrong, went 2-0. And the Niners, no Nick Bosa, but they're still going to be obviously tough to beat. I still think they're going to make the playoffs, Nick Bosa or not. A lot more injuries to go through. Najee Harris, really tough injury for him. Torn Achilles. Just kind of non-contact injury, fell. People were noticing what Justin Herbert did on the play. They're like, Justin Herbert's got that dog in him. He saw his player, his teammate die. He saw his teammate tear his Achilles right in front of him, and Herbert just kind of hopped over him, completed the play and completed a pass. But rough injury for the Chargers. But it was good to finally see Omarion Hampton, however you say it, finally kind of have his little breakout game as the rookie running back for the Chargers. Unfortunately, it happened in the game where their veteran running back was lost for the season. Speaking of another veteran running back lost for the season, James Conner, his ankle injury, I believe, will require surgery. He is out for the year. James Conner can't seem to catch a break. Obviously, he beat cancer early in his career, but it seems like every time he balls out, he gets injured. And I don't know, he always balls out. So, wishing a speedy recovery for all those guys who are all out for the year. In terms of some shorter-term injuries, CeeDee Lamb, he's likely out 3 to 4 weeks with a high ankle sprain. Really good news for the Green Bay Packers. Unfortunately, shout out Pete. Go to petershomeloans.com. He will be in Arlington at the Cowboys versus the Packers game. No CD, but there will be Micah. No tribute video for Micah. That's kind of messed up. Shouldn't Parsons, 12 sacks in each of his 4 years with the teams, doesn't he deserve just a little just a little 60-second little clip. Jerry Jones said no, it wouldn't be appropriate. Well, Jerry Jones, I'll say it again, you're an idiot. I still love you. You're still my favorite GM of all time. I'd still like to build you a statue at Lambeau Field. But you're dumb because you're not giving him a tribute video. Like you're trying to piss him off more. Like, he already hates you. I don't think he hates, like, he loves Dak. That's the one thing Micah said in an interview. He said it's going to be painful sacking Dak. I'm pretty sure Dak was kind of his best friend on the Cowboys, down there in Arlington or Dallas or wherever the hell they're at. But yeah, I don't know if Parsons meant it's going to be painful emotionally for him to sack Dak, or if it'll be painful for Dak to get sacked by him. But yeah, that quote was kind of funny to me. He's like, yeah, it's going to be painful to sack Dak. Like, basically, as an aside, guaranteeing he will have a sack against the Cowboys here. But yeah, I think CeeDee's out. They might be missing an O-lineman. Hoping the Packers can bounce back from a brutal loss to the Cleveland Browns. But moving on, Mike Evans, he is also out 3 to 4 weeks. He's got a hamstring injury. Hoping for a speedy recovery from him. Emeka Egbuka, Pikabuka, as Chris Berman on ESPN likes to call him. He'll be the number one, and yeah, for the time being until, I don't know, maybe Chris Godwin is still listed as questionable. I feel like he's listed as questionable each week, but they still, bring him out. But maybe, who knows, maybe Godwin comes back a little early. He steps into that one role, but I don't know. Egbuka is the future in Tampa Bay. I think anyone who's seen him play so far can agree with me on that. That one-handed catch last week was sick, dude. But yeah, 2 more injuries to go through. Actually, 3. Oklahoma quarterback John Mateer, he's getting hand surgery. He is expected to return at some point. I don't know who Oklahoma's backup is, but I assume it's probably good enough to help him tread water for a little bit. But yeah, tough loss for OU for sure. They have definitely have playoff hopes. I think they just beat Auburn in a ranked matchup. So yeah, tough loss. And John Mateer was probably a lot of people's Heisman pick. That kind of brings him out of the Heisman running. Missing, I don't know, he'll probably miss a month with hand surgery, something like that. 2 guys who hopefully are only missing 1 week are Jaden Daniels and Terry McLaurin. I guess this is Jaden Daniels' second in a row. But yeah, Jaden Daniels has been ruled out, as has Terry McLaurin, for this week's game against the Atlanta Falcons. Gonna be an interesting game. It's making you want to bet on the Falcons, but at the same time, Marcus Mariota looked great last week and pretty much dominated the Raiders, as the Falcons got dominated by the Panthers. I didn't even watch that game. I don't know what happened, but I guess Penix was so bad that they put in Mr. $180 million, Kirk Cousins, and didn't matter. They still lost 30-0 to the Panthers. But let me take a quick sip of water as I get into some WNBA, and my apologies to all the WNBA heads watching this show, all 3 of y'all. It's not an apology if you make fun of them in the middle of it. So, my apologies for that half-assed apology. But the question that I haven't gotten to yet was, why can't we appreciate greatness? Last week, I talked about how do we fix the WNBA? How do we get people to watch? How do we get people to be interested? And I said star power. You need that Shohei Ohtani type person to come into the league and really build the hype around everyone. What's a shame is that WNBA already has those players. They're just maybe not marketable. So Asia Wilson, she not big in the news, but this past week she won her WNBA record 4th MVP trophy. That's a WNBA record, 4 MVPs. We're watching one of the GOATs of women's basketball, one of the greatest players to ever play, and no one talks about her. No one talks about Asia Wilson. So I need to give Asia her flowers. Greatness. That is absolute greatness to set the record for most MVPs in league history. On top of this, on top of winning MVP this year, she also won DPOY. She also won Defensive Player of the Year. So hell of a year for Asia Wilson. Looks like she's going to have another crack at getting another championship for her Las Vegas Aces. So I don't know. I got to tune into these WNBA playoffs. But again, Playoff baseball coming up. Football has arrived. So it's going to be tough, but yeah. Yeah, like I said, last week I said that the WNBA is lacking star power, but Asia Wilson's out here breaking records left and right. So we just got to appreciate the greatness that already exists in the WNBA and that already exists in the MLB. Just wanted to give a quick shout out to Mike Trout, who hit his 400th career home run this past week. I don't know if he's hit any since then, if he's at 401 or 402, but at the time of the 400th, really crazy, weird stat. He had 200 home runs on the road and 200 home runs at home. Just random stat, but shout out Mike Trout, a Hall of Famer, one of the GOATs of all time. Another long show for y'all. I don't know. I'm starting to ramble a bit more. Maybe I've put too much content in these episodes. I try to keep them to 30 minutes. This one might be closer to 40 because I haven't even gotten to first or interruption yet. That's our first segment, as always. Today we will be getting interrupted by Mike Tomlin, who he had an interesting press conference, kind of talking this week leading up to the Steelers-Vikings game in Dublin, in Ireland. So Mike Tomlin had some pretty nice things to say about Carson Wentz and this Vikings offense. And then someone caught a stray. One of my favorite players caught a stray. So that's the main reason this is the first interruption. I want to hear you guys hear Mike Tomlin just shoot a stray bullet. It feels too soon to be talking about stray bullets. But someone catches a stray in that. Don't take that seriously. I'm not trying to make a joke out of a fucked up political situation. I know I didn't mention it. But someone caught a stray in this Mike Tomlin press conference. Holy shit! Just roll it.
I think they've already made the announcement that Carson Wentz is their starting quarterback this week, and that certainly has our attention. He's a Grizzly veteran. Oftentimes, particularly when you have a young, inexperienced quarterback, there's some big-time benefits of playing with a vet backup. The veteran guy oftentimes does the intangible components of the job very well. They communicate and articulate the schematics and the plan to others. They uplift guys and get people lined up. They oftentimes are able to carry more schematic responsibility and so forth at the line of scrimmage. And so I don't necessarily view it as a negative thing for the Minnesota Vikings, at least in the short term, that Carson is playing for them. We were in a similar situation a year ago. We were playing in Indianapolis, man, and I commented to the guys that, keep Richardson upright. Don't put Flacco in the game. And, Flacco ended up in the game. And I think that's oftentimes some of the things that you can run into when you run into a veteran guy, at least from a short-term perspective. And so we got a lot of respect for Carson and his journey, his experience, and what he's capable of providing his team this week. We're preparing with that understanding and that edge.
You bastard. Why you got to do my boy like that, Mike? Why you got to do Anthony Richardson like that? He's, of course, who caught the stray. Last year, I told my guys, keep Richardson upright. We don't want don't let Flacco get in the game. He told his players, please don't injure Anthony Richardson. We want him to play the whole game. Oh, brother. It's the inexperienced quarterback point. He's obviously kind of referencing. He's like, maybe if J.J. McCarthy was in there, I wouldn't want my guys to injure him either because Carson Wentz is more experienced. They obviously have Jefferson and Addison and Jordan Mason and weapons. So, with one of the best coaches in the league and Kevin O'Connell, Carson Wentz obviously looked pretty damn good last week. They dominated the Bengals. So, I don't know. I kind of like the Vikings in this game, unfortunately, but really excited for the second international game of the year. I don't like waking up early, but 8:30 to wake up for a football game, that's worth all the stuff. I want to make one of these London games. This one's in Dublin, Ireland, but one of these London games, I want to make a full English. I've wanted to do that for so long, but a full English is kind of a pain in the A to make, so I haven't. But back to Mike Tomlin. They just did my boy Richardson dirty. Daniel Jones is doing my boy Richardson dirty and making it look like Richardson won't even get a shot this year, and it'll be that Trey Lance arc. But yeah, Tomlin, as much as I didn't like that stray he threw at Richardson, he wasn't wrong, because in that game, Richardson actually did end up getting hurt last year, and Flacco ended up replacing him, and the Colts won 27-24. So Tomlin technically was dead on with his thesis there. Like, we got to make Richardson stay in the game. He didn't, and Joe Flacco came in. Shout out my brother John. And last year, he actually said, he's like, I want Richardson. He said the same shit. He said, I think Joe Flacco's going to come in this game and beat us, and he did. So, yeah, let's move on. Let's only a couple more things left. 10 of them right here with our top 10 Goosebump moments of the week, everybody's favorite moment of the week. So let's get into it. At number 10, we got a homer pick. We got Bryce Terang ripping the game-winning RBI for the Brewers in the 10th.
It'll take something from Bryce Terang if the Brewers are to get their runner home.
And the 3-2, and Terang delivers into left center, and the Brewers have the lead. Bryce Terang with a 2-out, 2-strike, 10th inning RBI. And it's 3-2 Milwaukee.
Number 9, Arrington Maiden bulldozes forward to ice the game for Memphis over Arkansas.
Situation on 3rd and 8.
Look at this.
And he is going to run it ahead. And look at the extra effort. Look at this effort by Arrington Maiden, who comes into the game and comes up as big as you can.
Number 8, the Browns block a kick and then make a 55-yard kick.
The hold, the kick is blocked. It is blocked.
To upset the
Browns
Packers.
get the swat.
I'm still upset.
Good snap. Good hold. The kick is on the way. The kick is good. The kick is good. And Andre Schmidt from 55.
Number 7, Dylan Beavers with a walk-off nuke for the Orioles.
Dylan Beavers absolutely destroyed. The first pitch of the last home game of the season in the bottom of the 9th. Dylan Beavers demolition derby. The Orioles.
Number 6, Geraldo Perdomo walks it off as the D-backs beat the Dodgers.
Base hit. Hurry. Here comes Toa. Alex Cole with a throw. He is safe. You believe.
Number 5, Jose Caballero's bloop walk-off single sends the Yankees to the postseason.
Looped into center field, coming on Taylor. He's not going to make the play. Here comes Judge. He'll score, and the Yankees are going to the postseason. Caballero drives in Judge. The Yankees with 2 runs in the bottom of the 9th inning, and they've clinched the postseason berth.
Number 4, Freddie Fermin's 11th inning walk-off clinches a playoff spot for San Diego
From 8 lines it into left center.
over the Brewers.
Johnson's coming from 3rd. And with that, for the 4th time in the last 6 seasons, the San Diego Padres are headed back to the postseason in 2025.
Number 3, Noelvi Marte with a game-saving home run robbery.
Marte
Oh, my.
all the way back. Leaps at the wall. Here comes
Reds stay in the playoff hunt.
takes away a game-tying home run. The biggest play from Marte in the outfield. He saves the day.
What a grab, Noelvi Marte. He was way up there.
Number 2, Victor Robles makes a diving catch and double play to win the Mariners a crazy one.
Double him up at second.
Victor Robles makes the catch.
Yes.
And that is the ball game.
Number 1 moment of the week, Jordan Davis blocks the kick and runs it back 61 yards as the Eagles win it.
And Jordan Davis, the big man, looks for the icing on one big cake. Eagles hang on.
Oh my goodness, vapors cough, but you love to see it. You love to see a big boy rumbler, a big boy rumbling 61 yards after blocking that field goal. People were losing their minds because the Eagles also covered the spread on that. But that announcer, you didn't have to say that. You didn't have to say that at the end. He puts the icing on one big cake. What the hell? You saw Jordan Davis fat ass running. You're like, I want to put the icing on this cake. What the? Come on, man. You don't. Oh, did I just say the F word? Ooh, there's $1 for some charity. Who knows if I said any other F words this show? Comment below if I missed one. Continue to comment if I miss an F word, because I owe money to maybe pause. I don't know. My aunt's got to let me know who I'm donating this money to. One quick note on number 5. Michael A. Taylor, you got to lay out for that. The game's, there's 2 outs. There's no harm in diving. I swear that ball landed a yard ahead of him and he was jogging. And yeah, that walk-off sent the Yankees to the postseason. Yeah, not happy about it. I would like to note though, I always hate the Yankees, but I do like certain players on the Yankees. I think Jose Caballero is that one exception for me. I like Jose Caballero. Shout out him getting traded to the Yankees, dugout to dugout this season. So congrats on the bloop single, but Michael A. Taylor easily could have caught that if he lays out. What a catch by Noelvi Marte, that home run robbery. Mets are, in the driver's seat for the wild card, but the Reds and Noelvi Marte, they're right there. They play the Brewers here. Brewers need 1 win to secure the 1 seed, so let's hope we do that today. But yeah, quite the top 10 this week with Jordan Davis, the most electric play for sure. Didn't need to return that kick, but he wanted to, and he did. But yeah, that's that. Let's finish out the show as I continue to prove why vaping should be illegal with my game of the week. This week's game of the week, I unfortunately don't think I'll be watching. My apologies for not making a TNF pick yesterday. I did bet on the over. It was 43.5. The total was 43. How does Vegas know? How do they get within a half point? But no TNF pick this week, just a game of the week. Number 6, Oregon at number 3, Penn State. Penn State minus 3.5 point favorites. Like I said, I don't think I'll be able to watch this one, so I am going to guarantee another instant classic here. Last time I missed one, it turned out to be an instant classic when I said it. So this game is going to be amazing no matter what. But yeah, tough one. Out in Happy Valley between the Ducks and the Nittany Lions, my pick, I'm going to go Penn State money line. Although I don't think they cover. So maybe Oregon plus 3.5 is probably a better pick here. You probably make more money off that. I don't know. I think it's going to be a back and forth game between 2 Big Ten juggernauts. Neither of them have really had a real test here yet, but I do like Penn State to win a thriller here. I think the Nittany Lions take down the Ducks on a field goal as time expires, or maybe even on a walk-off touchdown to win the game by 1 point. And the pure ecstasy we'll see from Penn State fans after this one will have us saying, this must be why they call it Happy Valley.